So how can we tell when a goal or dream is created out of inspiration or desperation? A simple way to know if a goal or dream is created out of inspiration is to remember the distinction between thoughts and thinking. Goals and dreams that come in the form of a thought are created out of inspiration. Goals and dreams that come from thinking are created out of desperation. Typically, when we think, we'll analyze, judge, criticize, rationalize, and use our past to try to create our new goals. But this form of creating goals feels extremely restricting and limiting. We don't typically feel good when creating these types of goals, and when we're pursuing them, we do not feel great either, since it's all out of desperation. Another way to identify the two is to sense how you feel energetically. Goals and dreams created out of desperation will feel very heavy, draining, confining, and empty. We tend to feel a lot of scarcity, fear, and stress, like we have to do it, or that we're obligated to. With these types of goals, it seems like if we do not accomplish it, that there will be dire consequences, hence the high pressure and stakes. I'm sure you can see now how this can create the feeling of desperation. Moreover, we feel like we're trying to accomplish these goals to escape our current situation and get out of something. Our goals created in this state are typically means goals, meaning that we want to achieve these goals so that we can do something else afterwards, such as having the goal to quit our job. Most likely, you'll have this goal because you want to go do something you actually enjoy. But you can see how this goal of quitting your job is just a means goal for you to go do something else. Or having a goal of making $1 million is typically set because you want to have financial freedom and go travel the world. These goals are always a means to an end and not the end itself. There's always a reason that we want to accomplish these goals, and that makes us feel very empty inside. I want to emphasize that none of these goals are inherently bad, or that we shouldn't have these goals of wanting to make money or quitting our jobs. If these goals are created from inspiration, that is completely different. It just depends on the source of the goals and not necessarily the goal itself. This is an important distinction to make, otherwise you'll spend most of your time debating and stressing yourself out over if this is the right goal for you or not. There is no right or wrong goal, only goals created from inspiration or desperation. It just depends on how you want to feel inside, and when you're aware of these two types of goals and how they manifest, then you'll be able to feel blissful as you go about creating amazing things in your life. On the other hand, goals and dreams created out of inspiration, which comes from thought, feel very light, energizing, uplifting, and expansive. We tend to feel excited, joyful, and most importantly, inspired. We don't feel like we have to create it, but that we want to. Instead of feeling like you need to do this, you feel inspired to. There is virtually no pressure because we're not trying to get out of something or escape our current situation by accomplishing this goal. There is no scarcity or urgency because we don't feel like we're creating from a place of lack, but instead from a place of abundance, and we just want to share it with the world. Since it's coming from inspiration, we are not doing it to get something out of it so we can do something else. It's not a means goal, but simply an end in and of itself. There is no reason we need to create it. We are not creating so that we can feel whole, but we are creating because we feel whole and want to give from that place, not expecting anything from it. I'm sure you can see the stark difference between the two now, and that you can tell which type your goals currently fall under. If most of your goals fall under the category of desperation, don't worry because most people have goals created from desperation, including myself before I knew a better way. So how do we create goals and dreams out of inspiration versus desperation? Creating goals and dreams from inspiration isn't something you have to try to do. We naturally have thoughts of infinite inspiration all the time. If you look at children, they naturally have the wildest dreams and imaginations of what they want to do. It almost doesn't even register in their minds that they can't do something most of the time. The only difference between us and children is that we've learned to shut down all of these thoughts of inspiration, which contain our dreams, hopes, and goals that we truly want to see manifested in the world. Our minds are filled more with reasons of why we can't than thoughts of what we want to create. We innately have an infinite flow of inspiration that comes through us, but we block that flow as soon as we begin thinking about the thoughts we have, which causes self-doubt, self-sabotage, and anxiety. Think of the flow of inspiration to create like a river. The river always flows until man puts something there to block it, like a dam. Then when the dam is there, We ask why there are so many fish dying, animals disappearing, and forests dwindling, when all we need to do is return the river back to its natural state, and everything will be working perfectly fine the way nature intended it to. The same is true for our minds and our goals. We always dream, have big goals, and know what to do at all times when we're tapped into our inner wisdom and inner intelligence, free from thinking. If we simply do not think about our thoughts, any sort of thoughts about dreams, goals, and desires that naturally arise are all from the divine, and that is how you create goals out of inspiration versus desperation. A question that greatly helps me to settle the thinking and tap into the limitless well of possibilities of what I can create is, if I had infinite money, already traveled the world, had no fear, and didn't receive any recognition for what I do, what would I do, or what would I create? Whenever we ask questions, answers always arise. It is impossible for our brains to hear a question and not come up with a response. So when you ask yourself this question, whatever begins to come up for you without any manual thinking will be from the divine and from inspiration versus desperation. The way the question is worded is extremely important because it removes most of the thinking, fear, criticism, and external reasons of why you would want to do something, so it focuses your answer on what you truly want to create. Usually it's for no other reason than you just wanting to create it because it's fun, without any influences from the material world. Try asking the question and seeing what comes up for you. You'll be surprised at what surfaces, but don't get caught up with your thinking when those true dreams of yours begin to be revealed to you. To a mind without the limits of thinking, anything is possible.